If you want 1 year of prosperity, grow grain. If you want 10 years of prosperity, grow trees. If you want 100 years of prosperity, grow people. I think this quote is a good representation of growing a community garden in our town. Hi, I'm Shelley Palmer, and I've just finished my freshman year at Iowa State University, and I'm involved with the Wellman Community Garden, and I would like to share a little bit of information about community gardening in your community. So we started our community garden in 2012 on the city council member's backyard. So it was pretty small, but it was a good start. Then in 2013, we got about 2 acres of land, and we have gardened a lot of that. So it's very progressed greatly, so that's great to have all that produce. According to the USDA's Garden People's Initiative, there are a list of items to think about before starting your community garden. Evaluate the need of your garden within your community. Are people willing to volunteer? If not, that's something that you would need to check because workers are always important in a garden. Next, you would want to find a site where the garden could grow. You would need about 6 hours of sunlight and a good water source, so it's close to the garden and you don't have to haul water very far. This book, the Grow, Eat, Cookbook, shows some ways to find a good gardening spot that you could look at, and then I like to use it. It also has a list of vegetables and when you plant your vegetables, what you plant them with, how you harvest them, for novice gardeners if you would be interested in that. And finally, where will your fresh produce go? In Wellman, we donate it to the Wellman Food Pantry as well as the Wellman Senior Center for their daily lunches. They appreciate the garden produce. As Jamie Job once said, the best things that can come out of the garden are gifts for other people, and I think that's what we're doing in Wellman. After evaluating these items in your community and deciding to start a community garden, it's time to publicize. We advertise in the local newspaper. We sent out these brochures to all the houses in Wellman, as well as through the word of mouth, which is also very important because people have positive comments and then they get other people involved. Holding regular community meetings allows volunteers and families to know what is happening within the garden. That way everybody can help and know what is going on. This also allows people to ask questions and learn from other people. That's the most important thing in community gardening because there's always something to learn. The meetings also allow the lease and waiver to be signed so that nobody is in charge of people getting hurt. And the Grow Pittsburgh website has a good example of the waiver as well if you would like it online. So after the paperwork is complete, now you can seek interested volunteers to plant seeds and maintain the fresh produce. As John Haywood once said, many hands make light work, and that's very important in gardening because not one person can do it all. Watching and talking to other gardeners is part of the learning process. It is important to keep an open mind when gardening because there's always something new to learn. The American Community Gardening Association encourages group gardening, so experienced gardeners can work with novice gardeners, so that way everyone will eventually learn something and hopefully have a garden of their own someday. It's important to maintain constant contact with your volunteers so everybody knows what needs to be done at what time. In Wellman, we place a dry erase board in our tool shed so people can write questions if they have concerns with their gardening or if we need something at the garden that they don't have. Providing the tools and the seeds can be beneficial for the people that are gardening. We have some tools available that community can use, and I've written letters to the seed companies for donations. So we have gotten many seed donations, as this picture shows, more than what we can do, but it's always nice that they support our community garden. The tomatoes and pepper plants are planted earlier so they can get a good start. And this book, like I told you before, has when you want to plant things so they can reach their full potential. And if there are committed volunteers working and growing the fresh produce, the community garden can be very rewarding. Seeing the smiles on the people's faces is unforgettable. So remember, first decide if the community is interested. Next, publicize your community garden. And finally, find your committed volunteers. I hope this gives you a good list of items to consider when starting a garden. The first couple of years will be experimental, but I will leave you with a final thought. Augusta Carter once said, "You don't have a garden just for yourself, you have it to share."